What if everything you thought you knew about fame and success wasn't true? You've seen big names like P. Diddy and Jay-Z praised for their music, their business moves, and their massive wealth. But behind all the fame, there's a much darker side. Imagine a world where money and fame doesn't just bring success, but also helps people break the rules and avoid punishment for their actions. What if their real power isn't just in their talent, but in how they use their money and influence to cover up their dark dealings and keep their image perfect? What happens when people with money and fame can play by a different set of rules? And what does it say about the culture we're all a part of? Stick around, because we're about to uncover how this toxic combination of fame and power is warping the very fabric of our media. Let's talk about the ugly truth behind P. Diddy, or as he's known in courtrooms, Sean Combs. For years, Diddy has built his empire on glitz and glamour, but what's he been hiding beneath the surface? A shocking trail of corruption, violence, and sexual abuse.
Introduce yourself again for me, sir.
I'm Barack Obama. I'm the U.S. Senate candidate from the state of Illinois. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Dad for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this.
I'm not talking about rumors. We're dealing with lawsuits, allegations, and testimonies that paint a disturbing picture. Let's start with the allegations about manipulating the justice system. It's been claimed that Diddy bribed witnesses and even jurors during a trial connected to the infamous 1999 nightclub shooting. Think about that for a second. Using money and power to twist justice? What kind of person does that? Now, if you think that's the worst of it, buckle up. In 2018, a woman accused Diddy of orchestrating her gang rape as retaliation. Her crime? She said he had something to do with Tupac Shakur's murder. Can you imagine the level of fear he's allegedly instilled in people? And guess what? This isn't an isolated case. One after another, lawsuits have surfaced detailing sickening acts: assault, drugging, and threats. A North Carolina man claimed Diddy fondled him when he was just 16 years old, trying to break into the music industry at one of Diddy's notorious white parties. Another person, a security guard, says he was drugged with ecstasy and assaulted. The pattern is terrifying. And this isn't just about one or two victims. Over 120 people are coming forward with similar stories, including minors. We're talking about accusations of trafficking, abuse, and violence spanning decades. The rap mogul allegedly drugged people, had them assaulted, and threatened their lives if they dared to speak up. One woman in New York said Diddy raped her at a Biggie Smalls party in 1995, slamming her head against a wall before delivering the chilling threat, "You better not tell anyone or you will disappear." Can you imagine the terror of hearing those words? This man, with all his money, fame, and influence, stands accused of ruining lives. In 2021, a Georgia man said he was paralyzed after being drugged at one of Diddy's parties and assaulted by him and others. We're talking about systematic abuse, folks. This isn't one bad night or a misunderstanding. It's a lifestyle of power abuse and corruption. And as these accusations pile up, what does Diddy do? He deletes his social media posts. He tries to scrub his image while hiding behind lawyers and NDAs. He has denied the accusations, sure, but at what point do we start asking ourselves, how many people need to come forward before we acknowledge the pattern? The worst part? It's not just the victims who have suffered. Reports have emerged of him using Molotov cocktails to set fire to property. Because why not add arson to the list of his alleged crimes? Diddy's legal team is trying to paint these allegations as nothing more than money grabs, claiming the victims are after his wealth. But how much longer can we believe that story when there are so many victims? Do 120 people have the exact same money-grabbing plan? What we're seeing here is more than just a celebrity scandal. It's a testament to how far corruption can go when someone has money and power. A system that's rigged to protect the wealthy while the victims are left traumatized, silenced, and forced to relive their worst nightmares in court. So, next time you see Diddy on stage, smiling for the cameras, remember, behind that persona is a man fighting against serious allegations of violence, corruption, and exploitation. Let's dive into the dark side of Jennifer Lopez's potential involvement in the infamous 1999 nightclub shooting. This is no Hollywood love story. J-Lo, who was dating Sean Diddy Combs at the time, may have been closer to the chaos than you think. Picture this. Lopez and Diddy were together that night in Club New York when shots were fired, leaving 3 people injured. Diddy, Lopez, and rapper Shine were all caught in the aftermath. But here's where things get murky. Some reports suggest J-Lo may have been more involved than anyone realized, allegedly smuggling a weapon into the club.
Right after the shooting, that it was P. Diddy who shot you.
I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands. But then I saw them reach from their waist and draw from their hip. And I knew. I instantly turned to my friends and told them, be careful, watch out. And when I turned back, I know, and I've said over and over, I've heard the voice of God, that you are about to be calm down. And as I said no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns and I felt the impact to my face instantly. J-Lo testified at the grand jury, as did many other people. It needs to be reopened because if that is in fact the case, she carried the gun in and she lied to the grand jury.
Now, let's be real. If you or I had been connected to a shooting, would we be getting the celebrity treatment or would we be in cuffs? This case highlights one of the most frustrating realities. Celebrities and those with power often manage to avoid the consequences that ordinary people face. While J-Lo escaped legal scrutiny, Shine took the fall, serving 10 years in prison after being painted as the shooter. Maybe it's time to rethink the way we glorify and protect our stars. Let's pull back the curtain on Jay-Z's alleged monopolization of the music industry. We're not talking about his talent here. Jay-Z is undeniably one of the greatest to ever touch a mic. But what happens when one man starts to control the entire industry? That's where things get shady. Through Roc Nation, Jay-Z's influence is everywhere. It's not just a record label, it's a media empire. He signed countless artists, sports figures, and entertainment moguls under one massive umbrella. But here's the dark side. Some accuse him of using this power to control the music game itself, bending the rules in his favor and exploiting artists who work under him. You see, in a business that's already riddled with exploitation, Jay-Z has allegedly found ways to stretch the limits. Roc Nation, while being a haven for some, has been criticized for the fine print in its contracts, reportedly squeezing out as much control over its artists' careers as possible. Remember what happened with Roc Nation and Megan Thee Stallion? She publicly called out the label, saying she was blocked from releasing new music because of a restrictive contract she had signed. Power play or coincidence? You be the judge. Beyond Roc Nation, Jay-Z's tentacles stretch further. With Tidal, the streaming platform he acquired, he promised artists more revenue and creative freedom. But who's benefiting most from this? Jay-Z, of course. Tidal was marketed as a revolutionary platform for musicians, but many have argued that it's really another way for him to consolidate his grip on the industry. Sure, artists like Kanye West and Rihanna were on board, but did it really shift the balance of power, or just tighten Jay-Z's stranglehold on streaming revenues? And then there's Live Nation. Jay-Z's Roc Nation has a strategic partnership with Live Nation, one of the largest entertainment companies in the world. This partnership doesn't just give Jay-Z access to more artists, it gives him influence over live tours, performances, and concerts, further cementing his dominance over the industry. In essence, if you're not playing by Jay-Z's rules, you might not get to play at all. This is not just about one man's success, it's about what happens when one person holds too much power. When you monopolize the music industry, you're not just dictating who succeeds, you're also deciding who doesn't. Jay-Z has built a fortune worth over $2.5 billion. But at what cost? Artists sign contracts they don't fully understand, platforms promise freedom but deliver control, and the audience is left supporting an empire they didn't even know existed. We need to ask ourselves, how much power is too much power? How do we allow one person to dominate the music industry, and what does that mean for creativity, freedom, and the artists who are just trying to make it? It's time to take off the rose-colored glasses and see the reality for what it is. If we're not careful, this culture will continue to rot from within, leaving no room for accountability or justice. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you're tired of the lies and the power games, then subscribe to this channel and stay tuned as we continue to expose the bigger picture.